Good evening. I think we should get started. So welcome for today's lecture. And it's a great pleasure to welcome Giancarlo Mazzanti, an architect from Colombia, who very early in his career as an architect recognized his interest in understanding the power of architecture as a social transformer and engaged himself in a series of commissions in the public realm, which he's going to share with us today. His work ranges from public libraries to preschools, sports fields, to convention centers, and has been recognized both nationally and internationally for these buildings. He has worked recently on residential buildings and several daycare centers in Bogotá, done 2 libraries in Medellín, is currently doing a Velodrome in Medellín and just finished the Coliseum in Medellín. So projects of a significant scale, but all that engage the public realm in interesting ways. He's also interested in research and has been in the last few years teaching at Princeton, this semester at the GSD, but has also taught in Argentina, Peru, Panama, Mexico, among other places. Giancarlo became a symbol of social transformation in Medellín through his sort of avant-garde building, the library, which he built in a disadvantaged part of the city, which was inaccessible due to poverty and violence. And it is something that happened about a decade ago in this largely inaccessible and insecure area, which was sort of marked by marginalization. And with the introduction of the metro cable car and the library that Giancarlo built, the area began to transform and become vibrant, safe, and a center for production and livelihood in a sense. And this is something we celebrated here, if you might recall, at the GSD with awarding the project the Green Prize, that is the project in Medellín, which include the systems of mobility, but the library and the institutional work were an important component of that larger project. Giancarlo yet treats architecture as the brave frontier and as an instrument in national identity construction. He proposes that, to quote him, to understand the historical and to generate diversity is critical to establish a national identity through architecture. In his view, to create a synergy between the talents that exist in a country would be a way to mobilize this move towards constructing this specific identity that he articulates. Thus, a possible way to perhaps understand Mazzanti's work is through the frame of public architecture competitions as a political tool for urban development. In Colombia, since the 1960s, it has been a strong tradition to use public competitions for the country's most relevant social infrastructure, such as schools, parks, museums, libraries, etc. And his work is very much situated in this sort of tradition. It's now 50 years that the country has engaged in this sort of architectural culture and creating a kind of specific thinking about architecture through competitions. In many cases, due to the size or difficulty of the projects, it has also created the other effect and need for architects to associate, to collaborate among themselves in order to deal with big projects or unknown fields of operation in addressing these new problems. And this has thus created and reinforced this strong and very particular culture of collaboration between architects in the country and often in the region. And Giancarlo has always supported and patronized this mode. Additionally, because of the quality and beauty of his work and the relevance and effect it has on neglected communities, his projects have helped a new generation of politicians and others to understand the power and social implications of urban design and architecture as a common ground for social equity and development, again making competitions and the public commission a tool for political success and recognitions, and by effect a recognition and powerful form of patronage for the discipline and for the profession. In this context, I think Giancarlo's work is important for 2 reasons. First, by proving to politicians and citizens that good contemporary architecture and beauty can have a strong meaning for communities and for reshaping the urban in the global south or the third world, or however you might want to describe it. And secondly, by repositioning architects as agents for social change rather than just being engaged in the architecture of indulgence. He has, through his projects, reversed the role of the architect as someone not bought in at the end to create an expression, but someone who's embedded in the process of conceiving spatial possibilities right at the start of the political discussion. And lastly, Giancarlo has built an amazing reputation in the profession for supporting, facilitating, mentoring, and patronizing young practices by including them in competitions, making them equal collaborators in the projects that he commissions to undertake. Even to teach here at the GSD, he collaborated with Camilio Restrepo, who is an architect and recognized in his own right, but someone he is associated with and supported over the years. His generosity has been widely acknowledged, and this is something that we should celebrate. Please join me in welcoming Giancarlo.
Thank you, Rahul, for the invitation. It's an honor to be here. And I'm going to do the lecture, and it's divided in three parts. The first is I'm going to speak about how is the role of the architectural now, and I want to show how do we work, what is the role now of the architectural. This is a political position, that my interest in the political position, and how we want to work in the professional in my work. I have interest in to work with other architects and another professional. I think that we are working with it in the open collective proceeding, and in the last 30 years, we have worked with more of 57 architects or social other studios. It's not only architects, studios. We want to work with other professionals. We want to learn of the other professionals. This is a political position for us, and we want to understand how we can learn of the other architects or the other profession. This is the knowing of the architects, and this is the different project that we did in the last 30 years in general. We work it in this way, and we have interest to work with other person, with other people. It's not to understand the collective idea, it's because I think we have a more open form to work, because when you have a collective group, you have 7 architects, and you work with to them every 10. We want to work with other different professional architects. Another approach that's important for us is the competition. The project that I'm going to show, the 90% is made for the competitions. It's a one competition. I think it's the only possibility for democratic form to show in the architectural, and it's a very interesting because you need to research for do the competition. You don't have a client. You don't have to do what want the client. You need to research another difference to think in general. That is wonderful in Colombia because we have the law, and the law say you need to do every project for the public project is made for the competition. That is for me a political position, and that is a form when I understand the society what I be in general. I'm going to show the second part of the lecture is speak about what is the interest that we ask in general. I'm going to show only 2 topics that we are working and we're researching now in the studio, but this is a resume what I want to do in general in the studio. Architecture is action. We want to understand what produces the architectural. The value of the architecture is not in itself only, is what you can trigger, what you want to produce with architectural, how you can work with the social inclusion, how we want to trigger new behavior, new forms, new different relations with the architectural. And we are working in this way, and we are doing the researching around to these points and these topics in the studio. This is a good example. This is the work for the artist from Mexico, Pedro Reyes, and he has many sombreros together. When you put this sombrero, you need to speak with the people when put the sombrero. This is a tool for the communication, and this is for me a good example how the architectural can trigger different form to behavior relation or can to change the form between the people to live in general. This is we are working in we are researching now 2 different works. The first is the idea of the play, of the game in the society. What is the role of the game in the society? And then we are looking for what is the real value of this game for the new behavior in general in the architectural in the work. In this sense, we work for what is the value of the anomaly in the work, what is the value of the, how we can put anomalies in the work, and what trigger these anomalies in the behavior and the relation between the people to live in the project in general. We are working in this way with the idea of the play. What is the real value of the play in the society? This is another time you can change the other possibility. If you look at this auditorium, if we change the chair for other different, I don't know, dunas, ¿cómo se dice? Dooms, one other form, the people have another form to relation between here. And I am very interested in this possibility to do anomalies or another forms to the forms in the project for produce this behavior in general. In Colombia, in the last years, we have worked in the idea of the social inclusion architectural. The project that you are going to work in general is made in peripheries of the city, and we want to work in general only in public buildings. I don't have interest to work with the private buildings. This is another political position, and I want to work in the public buildings and in the urban space and how we can change the real society, reality that we be in Colombia in the context. And we have worked in the periphery, in different world, in different places in general in Colombia. Another interest that we have is that architectural is a material practice. We have interest to work with the space and the material. We don't have interest what is the significance of the architectural in the end. The architectural have a significance, but we want to work with this idea to the material and very, 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 very precise practice. We have interest, the behavior of the systems, open system, adaptive system, the idea to work with the idea of the piece, of the model, of how come to work in this way. We have interest in, and I'm going to show many projects in this sense, around to the idea of the unfinishes, the possibility to ground, how we can the architectural, how we think architectural be around to the idea of the piece on the model. This is a good example of that. This is the difference diagrams where we work it, the idea of the different piece and the possibility to different organization or idea. In the end, we want to understand how we can think the architectural around to the idea of the protocols or the rules, and I can give the rules to the other people, and the people can work with this rule. I'm going to show 3 projects that we don't finish. It's finished for the mayor or for the city, but I give the protocols, I give the models, and you can change everything in this sense. In the end, is the death of the author, because I give you the tools for do architectural. Another architect can finish and can do the architectural, and I have a lot of interest around to this in this approach. We have interest in work with the idea of the diagram, and I'm not going to explain why, but for me the interest of the diagram is the possibility to produce or the behavior of the diagram in general, to think different from to operate in general of architectural. We have a relation with this idea and we classify the project in 6 different diagram rankings. It's not, we don't have an objective to classify the project in the rankings. It's a form to show, to teach my project in this way. It's not, my interest is not what is the diagram of this project. No. I want I put the diagrams to show my project in the last year. I have interest about landscape and topographies and geographies, contours and thematics, ground patterns, models and adaptive system, connectivities and adaptive system, ambient and environment. And this is the 6 difference from to work with we did in the last year. What we now I'm going to show the different projects, and I go to show what we do, and I go to show the only category we classify my projects in general. I have an interest to work with the idea of the landscape. If you see Latin America is a mountain, is a big river. This is the more hard idea where we have the relation around with Latin America, and we that. We don't want to repeat. We don't want to do a metaphor. I want to cooperate this idea of the landscape with the idea of the landscape in general of the Argentine. I go to show the Library España in Medellín. This is every project that I go to show is competition. This is a competition made 7 years ago, and it's in Medellín. And Medellín is a long valley between two big mountains in general, but Medellín in general is a mountain. The people from Medellín say to itself, we are the capital of the mountains, and Medellín is mountains and geography. And we want to work with this idea when we did this competition. And we have worked with the idea of the contours, or the idea of the valley, of the idea of the mountain, and we worked with this idea, and we want to understand how operate the topography, the idea of the in general in this case. And this is the difference forms that we worked with the idea of the volume of this building to go up of the mountain, and it is hace parte de. It's part of the mountain in general. It's not the mountain, it's part of the mountain. That's a very different approach for me in general. This is the model of this, the first idea when we did the competition, and this is the project around to the very, very hard neighborhood in Medellín. This neighborhood is made around to the 70, 60 for the people to move of the orient of the Medellín and move, and this is no planning neighborhood. When we did this project is part of the more important political project of the mayor Sergio Fajardo. In general, this project have the power to visibility this political position of the mayor of the city, and in the end, this is the real value of the project. When you see the project, around to the 80s, Medellín is synonymous of narco-traffic and violence, and now Medellín is synonymous of transformative education and optimism. And it's not for the library; it's for the political, for the position political. We visibility this political position and the politician, the project of this politician in general. This is the idea of this building. We want to work with the idea of how we can to put a signal of this visibility political in Medellín, and we want to do more this idea to the landscape, to the rocks. It's not the metaphor. I repeat that because it's more the relation with this idea of the in general. In general, the people to this neighborhood around to the 70s and 80s don't say I live there, because it's a more dangerous place in Medellín in the 80s. Is the quarter of headquarters of Pablo Escobar, and the people don't like to say I live there. Now the people say I live over there. In this building is the visibility of this political, of the change of the society in this case. For me, the most important of the project in the end is this project changed the economy of the neighborhood. The economy is changed because this building is converts to the symbol of the city, and the people go there. It's a public, it's a point for the tourists in general. I go to show different video, but I'm going to cut because we don't have a long time to show these videos. But we are making a book with different interviews of the people to live in the neighborhood that we were working in the last year. And this is the interview of the people to live in Medellín around to the library.
Toda la vida esa comuna nororiental ha tenido mucho problema de conflicto, de bandas. Entonces, como llegó allá la cultura y empezó a cambiar como la forma de vivir de los que estaban ahí, entonces eso llamó mucho la atención, y fuera de eso vino pues el rey.
El barrio cambió 100%. A como era primero, sí.
La misma gente le comenta pues a uno que esto era muy crítico, aquí la gente no podía salir.
O sea, el barrio era muy, que te digamos, o sea, demasiado caliente.
No ha cambiado un 100%, pero sí, a comparación de como era antes, sí ha mejorado muchísimo.
Pues ahora se vive muy tranquilo.
Yo digo que es por el aporte de la biblioteca.
Porque el gobierno ha estado más pendiente de estas zonas, ha visto que acá se puede, en barrios así pobres, se puede dar oportunidades y la gente puede aprovecharlo.
O sea, uno no siempre tiene dinero para ir a internet, a salas, a un café, a buscar tareas y ahora pues todo es internet. Entonces esto es una proyección pues muy bonita, es muy buena para todos nosotros y para toda la comunidad.
Es bonita, llama mucho la atención.
La biblioteca es muy bonita.
Es grande por dentro, por acá también se está bonita, esas de allá son las tablas donde hacen actividades. Realizan.
Okay, I think that the other very important result of this project is what think the people to live in this neighborhood. The people change what think up to itself, and the people have is another more autoestima. How do you say that? Self-esteem. Okay, that is very important in this project. Okay, this is another. This project is part of the more big urban project made for the Alejandro Echeverri and other architects in general in Medellin. But this is a part of the PUI, the program urban. It's a urban project. It's a very important urban project to connect the different points of the city. And this is the model of this project. This is the cable to connect to the metro and the different public space and connect in other sense because the city is break for the creeks in general. And this connection is very important on this project. This is the library here. Yes, here and here. And this is the project is engaged with the different public space and new streets. I am not going to explain the function of the project or what happened with the project in general, but we break the program of the project because we want to multiply the use in different time, in the night, in the morning, because in general the people to live here work 7 and arrive 7 in the night and don't have the possibility to use the library. And the library you can open the different volume, or you can integrate with the idea of the platform than in general of the project. In this case, this is the platform, and this is the section, and you can open the library until 12 in the night, or you can open one door in general. This is the inside of the library, the relation with the outside. We want to close the idea of in this place. The library was going up of the mountain, the relation with this idea of the contours, so the idea of the cut on the mountain. This is the public space over the library in general, and this is the video of the library for show. interest to what is the real impact of this library and the PUI in this neighborhood. Maybe it's no architectural effect, but I am interested. What is the effect to produce in general this project in the neighborhood, and change the field and how they view their itself in general. And that is for me the more important effect of the library in general. Is the crecimiento, how do you say, decrease of the violence in the neighborhood. Is not only the library, is working with other agents in general, but the possibility to use the library not only for library, is more to the social point and social place to learn different form to work and new investments in the library. This is a symbol of the city. This how do you say, souvenirs for the tourists, and this is a beautiful history. This is a book made for the writer for the Spain, for the young people, and this is a beautiful a novel about the two young people to live in whatever neighborhood in the world, and they go to the library and learn, and it's a beautiful. Around to this book, other people made a foundation to teach, to dance and hip hop, and to help to the people, more people young in this neighborhood, and they do this foundation. It's a very interesting foundation, and they work with the music, with the hip hop. It's another effect to do in the library.
Medellín es una ciudad en transformación. Hay más equidad, inclusión social, dignidad para todos. Barrio de Medellín quiere ser parte de esa transformación. Nuestro elenco es conformado por niños y jóvenes de todos los estratos, de manera que así promovemos la inclusión social a través de la formación artística.
Okay, I go to show another project. This is in the classify of the landscape. This is a competition for Kimberly Center in Innovation to Research in Medellin, and this is another place very different. It's in the border of the mountain in other contexts. We want to repeat. This is a very beautiful place. This is the mountain and very, very, very green, and we want to understand how we can continue to be the same topography, the same situation in general in this project. We work with this module and the possibility to connect this module and to design this idea of the topography in general. This is the model of the project to continue the topography of the place, and this is the model to capacity to ground, to adaptability to ground in the time in general. In this case, we want to trigger and we want to work with the idea of the intercambiabilidad. How do you say that? Exchangeability, and the possibility to interchangeable the place of the library. This is part of another exhibition that we are doing now in Spain with the idea of the play of the game of my project. But this is a good form to show how this possibility to interchangeable, I don't know, it's difficult, to possibility to have the office, the laboratory, you can move, you can work where you want when you arrive in this place. This is the idea of this project. We want to trigger this possibility to change the forms to work, the form to research, the form in the different form to work in this case. You can change the use of the building. You can arrive in this sometimes on this space, or you can work here, but you can change every time. The possibility is not the result of the one function. The possibility to the void in this case, so you can use the void in general in this place. This is the idea of the project, to continue the idea of the landscape, to continue the mountains, to the idea. This is the program. You can use different space where you want. This is the roof, to the idea go to upside to have another possibility in general. This is the general view of the project. It's this inside of the project. This is another classification of the diagrams. I am interested in this case to the ground and patterns. How we can think the possibility to this ground to grow, to patterns to grow in two different sense, or how you can think this in finishes architectural with this case. This is another competition. Is a scenarios for Coliseum for Medellín. This is another city in other situation in Medellín, in the valleys, in the traditional city, consolidated city, and we have to understand how operate the plantation in general. In the end, the plantation is as a strategy to occupy the floor. And we want to understand how operate this idea of the plantation, to have the possibilities in finishes, its capacity to adaptability, grow, and this idea we have worked with the project in the Coliseum. This is the first sketch, and the possibility to the patterns to go up to be the different sport inside of this building. This is the models of the place in general of the we work it in the idea of the project. This is the diagram and the possibility to grow, to adaptability. You can understand that you can do 2 coliseums or 3 coliseums, 4 coliseums, but I give you the protocols, I give you the models, and you can do what you want in the end with the project in general. This is the model of the project, and I go to show better how is the form of this project in general. This project is in the Unidad Deportiva. Is Olympic place for the Medellín, and the competition say that they want have 4 different buildings in this place. We want to work it with the idea to have a more strategic, and you can have a different buildings, but for us the most important is this idea of the general, of the geography, of the connection with different patterns to connect in general of the building. This is the place of the building, is between 2 Nutivara Hill and Flying Hill, have some relation with this idea of the mountain, of the color of the mountain. Is not the most important idea with the project. This is the project view, the idea to this in this case. I like this picture because we did 4 Coliseum. This one, and this one. The other Coliseum is made for the people of the city, and if you see that, is in the end is how the people apply the protocols and the rules. In the end, for me, this is very interesting, and I like that for my project. How I give you the model, how I give you and you can do what you want with the projects. They can grow, they can adaptability. The form in general of this building is not design. It's more to a strategic. This building is a stop here because we have a little stores in the front, but it's move the little store, you can move the pattern. It's not the composition, it's not the idea of the design. My project is not made for the design, it's made for the strategic. It's the idea to strategic or other how operate or the behavior of this system to work. What we want to trigger in this case, we want to have a relation how we can open this sport building for the sport in general is for the high competition. What we can think this project for the community around to the neighborhood. How the people can use this building for another different activities. It's very interesting when you go in the afternoon. The people play of the neighborhood play basketball. It's not the professional people in this case, and the possibility to open and close the building trigger this idea. This is the plan of the building. This building is made with 7 different roof, and we put in different situation A, B, or C this position, and this position made the diversity of the project. This is the diagram of the different roof or the different patterns, the possibility to put in different case or difference from the pattern in general. This is the idea we don't design this. I can move this roof in more or 2 meters or 3 meters. That is not important. It's what trigger this roof. What is the idea of the shadow? The idea of what happened in down of this roof. And this is that we trigger the possibility to make more public space. In general, the sport facilities is the result of the field inside. We want to break this idea to the border of the facility inside of the field. I want to break this and trigger other forms to use upside of the buildings. And this idea is not the result of the field. Maybe you have this border very rectangular for the field, but the roof is go out, in, out, and this is the idea of this. In this case, this is the fourth Coliseum, the relation with the mountain of the city inside of the building, and this is another interest we have when we did the public building. How you can look inside of the building. In general, the sport facilities is closed. The people don't know what happened inside of the building. How we can open this idea of the buildings, how you can see inside of the buildings, and the people have a relation what happened inside in this building. The people look for these little holes and see what happened inside of the building, and the relation to the people inside of the building with the upside is another, and work with the bioclimatic weather in Medellin is a very wonderful weather in Medellin in general. The idea of how come in the light in the buildings, the relation with the border of the city, and another view in general of the building.
Ya no.
Okay, I go to show another classification model and adaptive shifting. In the end, the order classified that I show you now is the idea to the growth and the adaptability in general to the unfinished project. I go to show the little project in Bogotá. This is a canopy for the very little field for soccer in the very poor neighborhood in Bogotá. This is the place in Bogotá. It's in the periphery. It's a very poor place. It's Casuca. It's a very dangerous place for the games, for las bandas, for the games. And this is don't have facilities, don't have a public place. We want to work with this idea of the. It's difficult to translation, and nobody knows how translation that is la frondosidad. How do you say that? Foliage? Okay, the foliage of the idea of the foliage in this case, and made a green point in this little field for soccer. This is a little school around together to the field, and we want to work with this idea of the model and the piece and the possibility to adaptability this little piece and how can grow this building in the time in the next year. This is another difference. This is the stop motion of the piece. How we can grow the project in the time. How we can do different project in different time and different configurations. This is the project build, but it's very different in this place to the Santo Domingo Savio to the library in Medellin, because the library in Medellin is come for the urban project. We want to work with this project with the little project, a urban project, and we want to grow in the time and connect another important place, another void place in this neighborhood. And this is the idea, but how you can to connect and make another more infrastructural project in this place in Casuca. Now we are start to work with the mayor of this of Soacha for do this connection. We are starting to work in this case. The image of this idea of the canopy, the plan of the canopy, the different models can grow in different space. This is the connection with a little school. This is the idea of the canopy. In this case, we want to trigger another possibility in this project. In general, in this neighborhood, the people go into the house to the 7 in the night because it's very dangerous to be outside. With this project, we can to produce the people be there after to 11 in the night. It's a place for safety for me. I say that. It's a place for safety. It's a place where the people go and have a very different, another behavior, another using. It's not only for play soccer. In this place, they teach, they learn, have a little concert of the music of the people in the neighborhood in general. This is the interview in this case.
Mucho niño que ya sale a vacaciones en lugar de que se vayan por allá a callejear, entonces un campeonato, unas vacaciones creativas ahorita quedarían buenas ahí también.
Antes era un potrero, ahora es una cancha multipropósito donde los niños pueden venir a practicar fútbol, baloncesto, voleibol.
Nosotros le decimos el polideportivo de Casuca.
Inicialmente tenemos 3 escuelas de formación deportiva o clubes juveniles con el Instituto Colombiano de Bienestar Familiar operados por Colsubsidio, y tenemos también 3 escuelas de formación artística con la Secretaría de Educación y Cultura del municipio.
Pues esta construcción de este polideportivo ha sido definitivamente valiosísimo para esta comunidad, una comunidad afectada por la violencia, una comunidad afectada por todos los problemas sociales que se viven en una comuna 4 de Soacha, ¿no? Problema de desarraigo. Entonces nadie es dueño de nada, nadie cuida nada. Con este polideportivo lo que hemos notado es que la gente se ha apropiado un poco del espacio, primero porque está cercana al colegio, segundo porque es un punto de referencia valioso acá dentro de la comuna.
Ya hay una referencia para toda la comunidad en la sola ruta de transporte cuando tú vienes en un bus, entonces ya la gente se ubica que es el parque de Pies Descalzos, el parque de Shakira.
Vemos que los aros de las canchas, por ejemplo, de baloncesto todavía permanecen, eso es un logro fantástico. Antes había unas canchas allí, pero pues estaban completamente destruidas. La gente aprovecha este espacio no solamente para recrearse, sino para compartir y departir otro tipo de actividades. Acá hemos tenido la oportunidad, por ejemplo, de tener encuentros del Día de la Familia.
También se han hecho acercamientos con la comunidad.
And this is the result of this possibility. Another possibilities, plays, conference, lectures, other possibilities in general in this case. That is my interest when I work with the public buildings in this neighborhood. How we can to multiply other use and other possibilities in general. This is the image of the project around to the neighborhood. The little school of Shakira, the relation, the idea of the shadow, and I have this is for me very interesting, this picture, because sometimes you see the project solid, another project, and sometimes you see the project very, very transparent. Yeah, you can have a different view, depends where is your point of view of in general of the project. got to show another project, the new Velodrome in Medellin. This is another competition. We won this competition two years ago, and this, in this case, this project is another have a good luck Medellin, and this is a project very near where we did the Coliseums, and the place of the way we did the Velodrome is a long space, is a park. Together to the airport of Medellin in the middle of the city. We want to work with the idea of the piece, but it's another piece and possibility to attachment this piece and possibility to grow the piece in this case. This is the model, the simple model, the possibility to pegar, what do you say? Attach this building in general, and this is the idea in the end. It's use the idea of the role of the bicycle and the structure of the role of the bicycle to do this project. This is the models, the catalog of the models, and how operate to attachment and grow in different moments and other possibilities in general of this idea of the model and the piece to point. The project I'm going to explain very fast. Is that the private program is down. This is the place for the sport people. But for us, the most important is the idea to the public space in this case. The idea to the little hill and little topography, and the people can go up and have a relation with this hole in the middle of the Velodrome. If you see the structure is put over this one, I have the same approach with the Velodrome. How we can break the relation between how we can to break the relation of the field to play the sport with the border of the Velodrome and produce more public space and other activities in general in this case. This is the Velodrome, and this is the public space around. And the facade of this project is go down, is move. And when the people don't use for the competition, the people use the Velodrome for other activities. The people can go walk there and can have this friend. This is the idea of the building, the different model, where is attachment, and this the idea to dissolve the border of the field, or the form of the field. This is the model to operate for the model. The difference piece, attachment. We have 8 different models to connect to make the building in general. Another view, the idea of the topography, how you can walk around to this place, and how move the facade, and the people use this one in this case. This is the section of the project. We have three columns to attachment. These volumes is in the air. This is floating in 3 different. Okay. What we want to trigger there, we want to work with the culture of the bicycle. It's not only for the sport. It's for the cyclist shop, for exercise, and we trigger another activities around to the idea of the role of the bicycle. The people can go to this place and have another relation, another form to work be around to this Velodrome. This is the idea to move around to the Velodrome. If you see, it's more to the canopy, it's more near to the idea of the canopy, and we dissolve the idea of the Velodrome, of the public building, to the object put in this place. This is the different possibilities down of the canopy, of the roof, of the possibility in general. This is the view of the project. This project is start to build in 2 weeks, I think. So it's finished to the licitation, I don't know, to competition to build. Yep. And this is a very simple video. It's not a beautiful video, but you can understand what happened with the space, with the idea of the public space, to the canopy, and to the facade when move and open every space for everybody of the neighborhood, of the people in the city. This is the border. The border is go down and open this public space in this case. The different columns, and this is when it's not the facade, and you have another relation inside between in the project. This is the different drawings of the structure made for the engineers. This is the model of the one piece, very small piece of the difference roof, and this is the finish. This is the structural drawings of the engineer. These are another models of the work. I'm going to speak another program. It's a modular system for kindergarten in Santa Marta. It's a 3 little kindergartens that we did with one simple and one project. We did two kindergartens in 2 different places with the same system. We want to work with the idea of the flower, to connect it to the idea of the flower, to disseminate the flower in general. This is the difference model, the sketch of the project. And we want to, when we work with the education in the public building, we want to work with the idea of the pedagogic, how the space has the capacity to trigger different forms to learn. You need to understand what happened with the pedagogical system. You need to understand this pedagogical system put in the form of the building is the result of the pedagogical system, of the form what you want to trigger, what you want to learn around in this case. In this kindergarten, we have worked with the Reggio Emilia system, with the Malaguzzi, and this is the sketch for how they work it, and how this sketch show how they teach for the children. This is the models. This is the one model. The possibility to go out. The result of the form is for the bioclimatic this is the catalog of the different P's. The possibility to do different schools, different P's, and we did 3 kindergartens in this place. This is the north of in Colombia. This is in Santa Marta, and we did Timayui, La Paz, and Bureche, and we did different configuration with the same models. In the end, it's a critique for the traditional idea of the place, because the models operate in the position is for us the most important in this case. I'm not going to explain that, but in the end, it's the critical of the traditional for to understand the project is going off the site. This produce another relation in the site. This is the different models, and they're going now to do another 2 models, because the project for the place for them finished here, and they now is going to start to do another piece. That is interesting when you work in countries similar to Colombia, because you can do one project with 3 models, because you don't have more money, and you can grow, and you can give money for that. This is another configuration built in other place in Santa Marta. The relation with the idea of the mountain, we repeat this idea, the relation with the place, with the idea of the mountain, of the rocks. The color have a relation with the mountain near to the place. This is the neighborhood. It's don't have a urban project. It's only the project. But now the project is very interesting, because it's a place to teach another forms to work for the women in this place. It's not only for the children. Have another capacities, and they work with different another forms to teach. This is the form of inside of the building. The weather is very hot, and the hot is go up for the top. Another view, the relation with the idea to the mountains, to the volumes with the city, how the people use this place in other forms, and I'm going to show the video. going to finish with another classification. It's an ambient environment. We have an interest how we can to work with the idea of the ambient and the weather in the architecture. It's not only material form to work, and we want to show this project in Italy, in Loris Maraguzzi Center in Italy, and this is the place. This is the place where we have to do the expansion of this kindergarten in Italy, and we want to work with the idea of how my daughter se disfrazan, how do you say that? Dresses up, yes? We have interest, how we come to think a building with this idea to change every time. It's the same of the other project, but it's not made for the material, it's made for the other possibility. How we can to teach to the children how is the ambient of the jungle, the ambient of the ocean, in this case, and I have an interest how my daughter changes the role every time. They are princess sometimes, and other times it's animals, and they change every time this role, and we want to work with the idea of the role of the building. We want to work with the idea of the Olafur liaison, with the idea of the infabled in general in this case. We have worked with this idea. This is the model of the project, but we put this infabled in the middle of the court, and in this case. What we want to trigger, we want to teach to the children, and we want to hope the children can understand what is the difference having in other place of the world. And we have we want to teach what is the sea, what is the jungle, I don't know what is the sea, the jungle, the planetary, the North Pole. We can put different dress in this building, and the children can to learn what happened in general in this case. This is the model, and this is the possibility to change. The other little infable around to the classroom is for the exercise, but the principal infable have the capacity to repeat the ambient of other different places. It's very easy to work with this idea of the infables. We can put in 20 minutes different possibilities, and I don't know what's this, and I have another interest to open, close the different classroom of the building, and another possibility. This is the models we work it. The idea of the infable to the night, to the idea of the made another action inside of the building. This is the different perspectives and view of the building in this case. I'm going to finish with another project. I think we have 5 minutes, but. The finishes connection and webs. This is another the same idea to how we can grow, how you can make project within finishes. In this case, we are working in Marinilla. This is a little town near to Medellín, and this project is in this place. It's near to the long creek or park in this case. This is the models. The possibility to connect another piece. This is the catalog of the piece, and the possibility to grow and put different action in this case. This is the project, and the idea of the project in the end is how we can make a project for exchange flowers, plants in this city. This is the idea of the project is connect two different points of the city. This is a way of in Medellin, but we want to work with this idea to the domestic, how we can put the domestic upside in the public space. And this, we want to trigger that. The people go and exchange flowers, put flowers in this place, put hamacas, put chairs. Or we can trigger another forms to use the public space, in this case, in the project. This is the possibility to connect, and the people walk for this side, go down for this stair, and this capsule is the space for the teachers. This is a school for teachers in Medellin, but in the end, that is not my objective. So we can trigger another forms to use the people this place in Medellin, because you can to make many schools with good rooms for teach. How we can trigger other possibility of the building, multiply the use, multiply the exchange of the people, and the embracing of the people in general in this. This is the model. The project is made in una malla, mesh, and the people put in the mesh plants and flowers, yes. And the people exchange that and have another relation inside of the building. This is the little street to come here. The people need to connect to the top of the hill and down to the hill, and the people have to move in this place. Is the connection. This is what we want to trigger in general, and this is inside of this place. The idea of the border, the transparency. This is the plan. The idea of the capsule to connect with different way for different connection in the city in general. In this case, we start the build of this project in 2 months. This is the structure of the project, and this project can grow. The idea is to grow in the next year, because they have to develop the idea of this school in near to Medellín. This is the idea to the stairs to go up, and that the stairs have the possibility to use for projection, video, cine, theater, and other forms of teach. This is my interest when we have worked in the last year with the idea of the model of the piece or the finishes to grow, what we want to trigger, what is the real interest when we do architectural. The problem is not the design in itself. When we design, what we want to trigger, what we want to produce in general. Thank you.
Maybe 5 minutes, a couple of questions if people have. There's one here.
Giancarlo, thanks so much for sharing your work with us. I wanted to ask you, of all your projects, the most prominent seems to be the Biblioteca España. I think it's a fantastic project, but I think it differs from the rest in 2 ways. One is clearer than the other. The first one is that it's attached, or it has a very close proximity to infrastructure, a piece of infrastructure that you didn't really mention, Metrocable.
I respond the first question because I forget the second.
Oh, no. And the second is...
The first question is because I did this building it's the first project what I showed today, and this is another approach, and we change it every time in this case. If you see, every project have a relation with the landscape. Every project have this relation.
No, yes, I can see that. But the thing that differentiates that project from the rest is that Medellín, that the Biblioteca España has a very close proximity to a very large piece of infrastructure.
Yes.
And the other thing is that this is something that we were commenting with another guest, Teddy Cruz, last week. There was a series of networks of different constituencies, the mayor,
yes,
the EDU, etc., that made it also very successful. So, as a designer, how alone do you feel, or should we feel, if we don't have these 2 arms supporting such a project, especially when they're public space?
In the end, the architecture will not change the social condition of the people. You have to work with the politician, with the urban design. But if you see the libraries in general, in Medellín made 9 libraries now. Do you remember which is another 8 or 9 libraries in Medellín? Do you know which is the library? This library have this power to engage the visibility, this political and politician, this political in this case. With the architecture, you don't change the society, but you trigger behaviors. And this is my interest in the end with architectural. With the urban planning, on the urban design, you can work with the politician and you can plan more big and infrastructure. But the little piece have the capacity to change the contact with the people every time. And that is my interest when I do architectural in general. This is a very different situation. If you see the other project, every project have the same approach, where we want to exchange flowers, we want to teach with the space, where we can to teach to the students for the different ambience in this. It's the little forms to behavior but in the end. I don't know if the...
Thank you.
Finish?
Other questions? answered a big one.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.